Washington. Top Democrats on the Senate Judiciary Committee on Friday told Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts they want to meet with him as soon as possible to ensure that Justice Samuel Alito recuses himself from cases relating to the 2020 election after two recent news reports revealed Alito flew flags at two separate residences that insurrectionists at the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021, had also carried. By displaying the upside-down and appeal to heaven flags outside his homes, Justice Alito actively engaged in political activity, failed to avoid the appearance of impropriety, and failed to act in a manner that promotes public confidence in the impartiality of the judiciary, Sens. Dick Durbin D.L. and Sheldon Whitehouse DRI wrote to Roberts in a new letter. He also created reasonable doubt about his impartiality and his ability to fairly discharge his duties in cases related to the 2020 presidential election and January 6 attack on the Capitol, they wrote.
As you come on to the page, kindly hit the like bell and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so as yet. And don't forget to put on the notification bell so you can be notified when I drop the next video. Thank you.
His recusal in these matters is both necessary and required. Durbin and Whitehouse are the committee chair and the chair of the subcommittee that deals with federal courts, respectively. The senators also renewed their call on the Supreme Court to adopt an enforceable code of conduct for Supreme Court justices. The court currently has a code of ethics, which it adopted last year and only after intense public scrutiny, but it has no teeth. Still, under that code, which the justices themselves put together, they are required to avoid the appearance of impropriety. And other Democrats have been demanding the Supreme Court adopt an enforceable code of ethics for years. But they drastically stepped up their calls for action after last year's bombshell reports by ProPublica that Alito and fellow conservative Justice Clarence Thomas had accepted lavish and undisclosed gifts from wealthy political donors for years. Democrats have also urged passage of a bill, the Zero Supreme Court Ethics, Recusal and Transparency Act, which would require justices to adopt a binding code of conduct and improve transparency when a justice has ties to a party or amicus before the court. But in a polarized and narrowly divided Senate, that bill is going nowhere. And while Durbin has the authority to subpoena Alito or other Supreme Court justices to appear before the Senate Judiciary Committee to address ethics questions, he has not done that. If Durbin were to try to subpoena Alito, he wouldn't be able to do it unilaterally. He'd need the top Republican on the committee to sign off, which would not happen in this case, or a majority vote in the committee. It's not clear if all 10 Democrats on the committee would vote to do this. A Judiciary Committee spokesperson would not say if Durbin is prepared to try to subpoena Alito if he doesn't recuse himself from cases related to the 2020 election or the insurrection. Instead, the spokesperson suggested he's focused on taking legislative action. The Senate Judiciary Committee has been investigating the ethical crisis at the court for more than a year, and that investigation continues, said the committee spokesperson. And Chair Durbin remains focused on ensuring the Supreme Court adopts an enforceable code of conduct, which Congress can do by passing the Supreme Court Ethics, Recusal, and Transparency Act. As the 2024 presidential race heats up, the very foundations of our democracy are at stake. HuffPost. A vibrant democracy is impossible without well-informed citizens. Washington, AP, U.S. Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito is embroiled in a zero-second flag controversy in as many weeks, this time over a banner that in recent years has come to symbolize sympathies with the Christian nationalist movement and the false claim that the 2020 presidential election was stolen. An appeal to heaven flag was flown last summer outside Alito's beach vacation home in New Jersey, according to the New York Times, which obtained several images showing it on different dates in July and September 2023. The Times previously reported that Zero, an upside-down American flag, a sign of distress, had flown outside Alito's Alexandria, Virginia, home less than 2 weeks after the violent January 6, 2021, attack on the U.S. Capitol by supporters of former President Donald Trump. Some of the rioters carried the inverted American flag or the Appeal to Heaven flag, which shows a green pine tree on a white field. The revelations have escalated concerns over Alito's impartiality and his ability to objectively decide cases currently before the court that relate to the January 6 attackers and Trump's attempts to overturn the results of the 2020 election. Here is the history and current symbolism of the Appeal to Heaven flag. Ted Kaye, secretary for the Zero North American Vexillological Association, which studies flags and their meaning, said the Appeal to Heaven banner dates to the Revolutionary War. 6 schooners outfitted by George Washington to intercept British vessels at sea flew the flag in 1775 as they sailed under his command. It became the maritime flag of Massachusetts in 1776 and remained so until 1971, he said. According to AmericanFlags.com, the pine tree on the flag symbolized strength and resilience in the New England colonies, while the words, "Appeal to Heaven," stemmed from the belief that God would deliver the colonists from tyranny. There are a few different reasons people fly appeal to heaven flags today, said Jared Holt, a senior analyst at the Institute for Strategic Dialogue, a London-based think tank that tracks online hate, disinformation and extremism. Some fans of it identify with a patriot movement that obsesses over the founding fathers and the American Revolution, he said. Others adhere to a Christian nationalist worldview that seeks to elevate Christianity in public life. It's not abundantly clear which of those reasons would be accurate in this situation, Holt said. But he called the display outside Alito's home alarming, saying those who do fly the flag are often advocating for more intolerant and restrictive forms of government aligned with a specific religious philosophy. The "Appeal to Heaven" flag was among several banners carried by the January 6th rioters, who also favored religious banners symbolizing the white Christian nationalist movement. The Confederate flag and the yellow Zero Gadsden flag, with its rattlesnake and "Don't Tread on Me" message, said Bradley Onishi, author of Preparing for War, The Extremist History of White Christian Nationalism. House Speaker Mike Johnson displays the flag in the hallway outside his office next to the flag of his home state, Louisiana. He said he has flown it for as long as I can remember. Johnson, a Republican, told the Associated Press he did not know the flag had come to represent the "Stop the Steal" movement. The speaker, who led one of Trump's legal challenges to the 2020 election, defended the flag and its continued use despite the modern-day symbolism around it. "I have always used that flag for as long as I can remember, because I was so enamored with the fact that Washington used it," Johnson said. The Appeal to Heaven flag is a critical, important part of American history. It's something that I've always revered since I've been a young man. He added, "People misuse our symbols all the time. It doesn't mean we don't use the symbols anymore." Johnson said he had never flown the U.S. flag upside in distress, as Alito did, and he declined to assess the justice's situation and whether raising the flags at his home was appropriate. But he called the criticism of the "Appeal to Heaven" flag contrived. "It's nonsense," he said. "It's part of our history. We don't remove statues and we don't cover up things that are so essential to who we are as a country." House Democratic Whip Catherine Clark of Massachusetts said in a statement that the display of the "Appeal to Heaven" flag at an Alito home was not just another example of extremism that has overtaken conservatism. "This is a threat to the rule of law and a serious breach of ethics, integrity and Justice Alito's oath of office." She called for Alito to recuse himself from any cases related to January 6th and the former president. There's a clear difference between the House Speaker displaying the flag outside his office and a Supreme Court justice flying it in the upside-down American flag outside his homes as the court is deciding cases involving issues those flags have come to symbolize, said Alicia Bannon, director of the Judiciary Program at the Brennan Center for Justice at New York University. "Alito's actions don't just cross the line," she said. "They take you out of the stadium and out of the parking lot." Alito has said the upside-down American flag was briefly flown by his wife during a dispute with neighbors and that he had no part in it. The Supreme Court already was under fire as it considers unprecedented cases against Trump and some of those charged for the Zero attack on the Capitol. An issue at the center of the controversy is that the High Court does not have to adhere to the same ethics codes that guide other federal judges. The Supreme Court had long gone without its own Zero Code of Ethics, but it adopted one in November 2023 in the face of sustained criticism over Zero undisclosed trips and gifts from wealthy benefactors to some justices, including Alito. The code lacks a means of enforcement, however. The Federal Code of Judicial Ethics does not universally prohibit judges from involvement in nonpartisan or religious activity off the bench. But it does say that a judge should not participate in extrajudicial activities that detract from the dignity of the judge's office, interfere with the performance of the judge's official duties, or reflect adversely on the judge's impartiality. Jeremy Fogel, executive director of the Berkeley Judicial Institute at the University of California, Berkeley Law School, said the flag revelations lead to questions about whether Alito can be impartial in any case related to January 6th or Trump. Displaying those particular flags creates the appearance at least that the justice is signifying agreement with those viewpoints at a time when there are cases before the court where those viewpoints are relevant, he said. Tony Kerk, executive director of Accountable U.S., a progressive watchdog organization, said the controversy shows that further steps are needed to put teeth into the court's ethics code. There's a reason why the confidence and credibility among the American people for the Supreme Court has plummeted to an all-time low, he said. Associated Press writer Ali Swenson in New York contributed to this report. As the 2024 presidential race heats up, the very foundations of our democracy are at stake. A vibrant democracy is impossible without well-informed citizens.
As you leave the page, don't forget to hit the like bell and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so as yet. Thank you for watching.